This is it right here.
Combining a team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious?
Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing?
That's a damn coaching mistake!
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no!
The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me?
That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy Cootie coming at you!
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again!
No arguments. Those are called ass tunes.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Mid-Michigan and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack, Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Rob Bennett, on a gorgeous Tuesday afternoon. Talk about 80 degrees in downtown Lansing, 80. On its way to 81, should be 81 by 5 o'clock. Gorgeous. Great day to be downtown Lansing. And we have a great show planned for you. And there's a show right now at Comerica Park. What happened to Tigers' bats had been the worst in baseball, not even close. And they're not doing a great job of hitting the ball hard, but they're getting runs today, 6 of them. And they lead the A's 6-0 here in the top of the 9th. And a much-needed victory for the Tigers in the first game of a doubleheader. And Javi Baez there with a great play in a hole at shortstop. And that is the second out on the top of the 9th. And the Tigers are one batter away from a victory, a much-needed victory for a team that was 8-20. We're going to be talking with Deshaun Tate, our basketball savant, in just a couple minutes. He's on his way here, Rob, but he is apparently running a little bit late. So I know the feeling. He will be here momentarily. That's my understanding. And then we're going to talk with Tom Lang, who will be here. He has a couple of very special guests. And it will be our long drive segment brought to you by the Links at Hunter's Ridge. And we'll talk golf as we do each Tuesday afternoon. Jim Stark, our Tigers correspondent, is not at the ballpark, ladies and gentlemen. So the fact that he is not going to be in studio as promised, not the fact that he is there playing hooky. He has got something else going today, but he will be calling in, and we will talk with him at about 5:05. And the plan is to have Justin Abdelkader with us from the Red Wings, and he certainly knows Adam Nightingale, knows him from his time at Michigan State, and knows him from the Detroit Red Wings when Nightingale was a video coordinator and then an on-ice assistant. And he can tell us a little bit about the Spartans' new hockey coach, the 8th in history, and presented him with jersey number 8 yesterday, Rob. And one of the Lansing television stations, you can guess which one, had said that he wore number 8 when he was at Michigan State. That is not the case. He is the 8th head coach of the Spartans, but he wore number 11. So now he has 2 jerseys in his collection. And looking forward to talking with him about Nightingale and about Stanley Cup playoffs. Maybe get some insight there. Last night, after the Tigers were done, we got a look at the NBA playoffs and Boston. Your Boston Celtics.
How about it?
Yeah.
A must-win, really, I thought.
Yeah, didn't want to be down 3-1, right?
Against Giannis. No, you really didn't want to do that. But how about Al Horford? Everybody knows his name around here. I mean, defying the ages, right?
Yes.
35, 34, 35,
yes.
right? And 30 points and crucial buckets down the stretch. And
we may have Tony Sweet on with us. Do you know Tony?
I do not know him personally.
He was the coach at Grand Ledge when Al Horford was there, coached there a long time.
Yeah.
Had some very good teams. And we're going to try to get him to join us. But a career night for Al Horford.
Yeah, for sure.
You think the guy's been in the league 15 years.
Jeez. I mean, he's found the fountain of youth again.
Oh.
It seems like he's done that with Boston the first time around, and then he got traded away to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. Comes back in a trade involving Kemba Walker. Comes back to Boston. It's like he's never left, you know?
Heard a very interesting discussion last week, and it's even more appropriate today, Rob. Naming the top 5 basketball players produced in mid-Michigan.
Ooh. Man, where do you start?
Well, you know where you start.
Well, you
start with Irvin Johnson.
Irvin Johnson,
Yeah.
correct. That's a great place to start.
That is unquestionably the number one choice.
Yeah.
Then it gets trickier. And I think most people would have said Jay Vincent would have been second. Mm-hmm. And you can certainly understand that. He would have been the best player in the state had Irvin not been across town when they were in high school.
Correct.
And they had some titanic tussles, including one at Jennison Fieldhouse, a high school game that outdrew the Spartans. And then he came to Michigan State, and he was a contributing player on a national championship team. And then when Irvin and Gregory Kelser were gone, all he did was lead the Big Ten in scoring twice.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Not
right?
bad.
Not bad.
As a junior and senior.
Yeah.
Then he went on to the NBA and his first pick in the second round and scored more than 21 points a game as a rookie.
Yeah.
He had a 9-year career in the association and looks pretty good. I mean, his numbers certainly stack up.
Right.
Then you get Al Horford.
I was going to say, where do you put Al in this whole thing?
You can really make the case now
Number 2,
that
maybe?
Al Horford could be number 2.
Yeah.
And I can make that case even more strongly today than I could have yesterday. Because I don't know anybody that age other than Irv. And Irv wasn't, playing at that age.
Yeah.
To do what he did.
I mean, do you even would say he's gotten better
Yeah,
with age, for
well,
sure? He hasn't deteriorated any.
He can have
right?
games like last night. I mean, he was, 4 for 6
Yeah.
from deep?
From deep, yeah. He definitely stretches the floor. And his defense.
He plays great defense.
His defense against Giannis.
Yeah, that's one thing that Jay did not do.
Yeah.
And Irv played kind of a different kind of defense. He played what I call John Stockton defense. John Stockton's the all-time NBA leader in steals.
Steals, yeah.
But you wouldn't think of him as a great defensive player.
Correct.
And Irv was the same way. He would come up with the ball, but he wasn't a lockdown defender. So I think that that's pretty interesting comparison between those two to see if Al Horford will continue to play. He could play another 2, 3, 4 years. Who knows the way he's going now. But 30 points last night, and, he blocked a couple shots, he's got a couple of assists, got 8 rebounds, and to do it in that environment, to do it in Milwaukee, trailing the world champion Bucks 2-1, that was one of the most important performances by an unsung player. And,
Yes.
He's a guy he's never averaged 20 points in his career, but he's been so consistent.
Yes.
And moved around, and now you look at his career totals, and you think, okay, Jay was a big guy, but he didn't play that big.
Right. And I like to call it, I don't like putting the glue guy. I don't know if I really like that stigma on players, but if there was a glue guy, at least when he was with the Celtics for these recent years, it's most certainly
He was with
Al
the
Horford.
Celtics, and then he left the Celtics, and he came back this year.
Didn't
to the
work out
Celtics.
with the 76ers, right?
Yeah,
Got
right.
paid, didn't get worked out. Then he
Went to
Oklahoma-
OKC.
OKC,
Yeah.
and like I said, made that trade with Kemba Walker and a first-round pick, and Celtics get back Al Horford back into the fold, and you can tell the young players like a Tatum and a Jaylen Brown love playing with the guy.
And I thought there was some negative reaction in Boston when he came back. It's like, we just had this guy.
Yeah.
What's he going to do?
Yeah.
They didn't like that move, but turned out to be a really good move for this team.
Sure. For sure. I
Yeah.
mean, when you look at what Kemba Walker's not been able to do.
Yeah.
And sure, a first-round pick, you have to give away picks, but most certainly the Celtics are winning that trade.
Well, who would have thought that Boston, where they were in December...
He wouldn't.
Wouldn't, right?
No way.
They were fighting to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep.
And they wind up as a 2 seed.
Yep.
Celtics and the Bulls really switched places.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one was a 2 and one was a 7, and then it just completely flipped.
Yep.
Yeah. But Al Horford, you got to put him up there. He's definitely in your starting 5.
Oh,
and I
sure.
think that there's a good chance. You know, he has 7,700 rebounds now.
See, again, you wouldn't think that.
No,
right?
no. He's got 13,000 points.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of points.
He's really just missing an NBA championship.
The other thing is, he is a player that almost every coach in the NBA would love to have because he's low maintenance.
Yep. Coach on the floor.
Yeah. You never have to worry about him.
Yep.
He does what you want him to do. You don't have to worry about him pouting or sulking. There's no diva in him.
Nope.
And I think he makes other guys better. He's a blender.
Yeah. Great analogy there. And like I've said, you talk to young players on that Celtics team after interviews, and you bring up Al Horford and just how important. I mean, the young players love playing with him. Love the guy.
I have to tell you, Rob, when he was in high school, I was late to the party.
Were you?
He was a really good player, but he was ranked the 4th best player in the state of Michigan that year.
Yeah, wasn't Goran Suton?
Goran was 8th or 9th.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
okay.
But they were close. I mean, you could watch them play, Everett and Grand Ledge, and Tom Crawford and I did, and we still talk about it, and we walked out of there and we couldn't pick.
Yeah.
We thought, they're both prospects, but Al Horford was going to go to Michigan.
Yeah.
And then it blew up.
Yep.
And he wound up at Florida.
With Billy Donovan.
Yeah.
Sure.
A lot of people thought he was going to come to Michigan State, but that wasn't happening, especially after he'd committed to Michigan. Right. Tom Izzo was out of that one. So then he went down to Florida.
Well, Goran was his, they were really high on Goran too,
yep.
right?
Yep. I mean, they had Goran, and that was fine.
Yep.
We're fine with that.
Yep.
But Michigan State had 2 other players in that class, one ranked right in front of Al Horford and one ranked right behind him in that class. The guy ranked right behind him was Drew Neitzel.
Jeez.
Who was a really good player.
Right.
I mean, I saw him in a state championship game get the best of the top 2 players in the state who just happened to be on the same team, Detroit Renaissance. That was Malik Hairston and Joe Crawford.
Yeah. There's another name.
Yeah. Wound up at Oregon and Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the guy who was 3rd in the state, just ahead of Al Horford, he was a 5-star guy. You wouldn't maybe know that based on his career. You definitely wouldn't know it based on his Michigan State career. Great guy, and he's a very good coach now. He's coaching, and Al is still playing in the NBA, and that is Marquise Gray.
Yeah, sure.
Queese was a tremendous high school player at Flint Beecher.
Turned out to be a two-sport guy at Michigan State, right?
No, you didn't get a Matt Trannon.
Oh, that's what I'm sorry. Yeah, Matt Trannon. Yeah.
Queese was a contributing player on a team that played for the national title in 2009.
Sure.
So, you're talking about a guy who had been through it. But, yeah, that was it was fun to watch Al Horford grow because I think he got better at every step. He was really good at Grand Ledge. And Jeff Heward, President of Spotlight Productions, will tell you how good he was.
Yeah, I came in a little early the other day, and Jeff was here, and we talked about the series with the Celtics, and I brought up Al Horford, and you should have seen the smile on him.
He's Al Horford's PR firm.
Because
no question.
About another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all we talked about. So, I mean, just an unbelievable player and an unbelievable career. Like I said, the only thing I think he's missing is an NBA championship.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe that'll happen.
You can't.
Boston was playing as well as any team. Is there any reason that now Boston going home in the best of 3, 2 of them TD Garden, that they can't win this series?
Absolutely not.
Is there any reason that Boston, as well as it's played the last 4 months, can't beat Miami?
Nope. The only team that really has me
Miami's still 2-2 with Philly. They're not out
Correct.
of that yet.
Yeah, Philly has come back strong in that, and Embiid is back, so we'll see how that transpires. But the only real team that really, if I'm a Boston Celtics fan, I mean, Golden State is playing pretty well, but they're in a dogfight with they have been with Memphis until a big win last night to go up 3-1 on Memphis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wide open, and I don't know if you could have said that about the NBA playoffs in the first couple of rounds like we've seen this year.
Right.
In years past, but it's really wide open.
Yeah.
But Boston's got a best chance just as better as anybody else.
Absolutely. I don't think there's a team right now you can look at and say, yeah, no, they're the one. Phoenix is tied 2-2 with Dallas.
Yeah. And do you like parity?
I love parity.
You love parity. Okay.
I love parity.
Good. Yeah.
I do not like super teams. Maybe Boston was one for so long, but I do not like teams that are juggernauts that win over. That's one of the things I like about the NBA right now.
Were you a fan of, because of Irvin on the Lakers? I mean, you could call them a dynasty, right?
Yeah. Well, they were fun to watch.
Right.
And it was great because it was Irv.
Yeah.
But had it been another team winning 5 times in a decade, no, I would have hated it.
Right.
And I didn't like the fact that they won 5 and the Celtics won 3.
4 or 3.
3, yeah. Yep. And then, of course, you had Philly in '83 with fo. They went right through, as Moses Malone said. But you didn't have the balance you have now, where it's exciting. You go into playoffs, try to pick a winner. Good luck. All right. We have with us in studio Deshaun Tate. He is our Lansing-bred, Atlanta-based basketball savant. It's Tate's Take Hoops, where basketball lives. How you doing, Deshaun?
I'm outstanding, Jack. It took me a minute. I do apologize. The lift, man, the lift riding. I think, listen.
Why didn't you tell me? I would just picked you up.
We're going to go from calling me Deshaun Tate to Deshaun Late in a minute, because these streets.
Yeah. Welcome back to Lansing.
All the money you got, Jack, and you can't.
You got the wrong. You should be talking to Rob Bennett. Okay, this guy's independently.
I thought it was all because of Deshaun's fans screaming at the
that
door
was
before
it.
he
They're
came
all
in.
look at him outside, waiting outside.
Look
the door.
at him.
No autographs till he's done.
You see it wrapped around the corner, don't you?
Yeah, I see that. Wait a minute, those are police. Oh no, that's something.
Oh yeah.
Talking about last night, Al Horford. You remember Al from Lansing growing up?
Absolutely, Grand Ledge High.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't believe he was so thin at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, first of all, if he would have told anybody he was going to be a top 3 draft pick in the NBA draft, nobody would have believed him probably at that time.
No, he was number 4 ranked player in the state that year. So
exactly.
How can he be number 3 in the NBA draft? Right?
Exactly.
But last night, incredible game.
Oh, my goodness. It was like he went back to the University of Florida days. It was like a, sophomore, junior year, you know what I mean?
And in those teams, Deshaun, he didn't have to do much. That was an amazing Florida team that didn't have anybody that scored 15 points a game.
That was the last team that won a national championship that I think I liked more than any other since that time. I just really enjoyed, and then they all came back, and nobody I felt as comfortable with.
And they're
winning
the last
national
repeat champion.
Correct. I never thought that. Since that time, I never really thought that anybody had as great of a chance as that team did when everybody said they were coming back.
The thing I loved about that team, and I talked to Billy Donovan about it one time, is you could have a player have a bad night. Sure. No big deal.
Yeah.
You could have 2 players have a bad night and have a chance to win.
Sure.
Take that on some other teams. If your 2 stars or 2 of your 4 best players stink, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And then you start looking at the makeup of that team, obviously with the Torian Greens and all these other guys that played on that team, Lee Humphreys and so forth. I mean, it's not like they went extremely deep either. They probably played about 6-7 guys consistently, and it was just amazing. The chemistry that they have, it reminded me so much of the chemistry that we see with teams like people think, oh, Golden State Warriors, they got all these 3-point shooters and this and that. No, it's the chemistry that they have amongst one another and the will to win. They just know how to win.
Well, let's talk about Golden State for a minute.
Okay.
What happened last night, and they didn't lead until 45 seconds to go in that game. They were home.
Yeah.
Chase Center in San Francisco against the Grizzlies without Ja Morant.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis controlled the game.
20-5 record without John Morant in the regular season. And I was really
20-6 now.
Yeah, 26. But going into the playoffs, I was like, how are they going to sustain this? Because they've already surprised a lot of people already throughout the duration and the course of the year. But even more so, this is playoff basketball. This is different. There's not a lot of transition. Every possession becomes more critical and so forth.
Steven Adams sighting last night.
Yeah, yes, it was.
Injured,
yes, it has.
Right?
Yeah, they call him the big Kiwi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the big seaweed for most of the year when I saw. But Memphis probably should have won that game. And you know what would have happened if Memphis had won? We would have had 4 series, all 2-2.
Not only that, but the crazy part is I hear, and I think Golden State probably heard some of this and probably felt a little disrespected by it. A lot of people felt like they should have been, Golden State should have been down 2-0.
Yeah.
And after those first 2 games. And I just didn't necessarily feel that way. I think that the experience meant something. It showed in those games on how to close them out. Forget about, just how X amount of minutes, however many that it, 45 minutes of a game, but there's still those other 3 minutes that makes, it's a huge deal.
Couldn't agree with you more. I always say that you have to learn to win in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And Memphis hasn't had that experience. I don't care if they were the 2 seed and Golden State was the 3 seed. This is laying the foundation for what Memphis is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Come back and see these guys in 2 or 3 years. You won't want to play them.
I got a question for you, Jack.
Yeah.
Considering the John Morant being out and so forth, I really felt like this needed to be Jaren Jackson's, whether you want to call it will imposing or presence party.
Well, he's playing against maybe the best defensive player in the league.
Of course, without question. And we get it, the injury, there's asterisk because of his status throughout every year that he's been in the NBA pretty much just about.
Yeah.
If you were redrafting that 2018 class, would he still be a top 4 pick in your opinion?
Based on potential, performance, maybe the numbers wouldn't add up that way. But I think if you look at what he can be, I remember he was 1 year in school.
Yep.
So, what is he now, 22?
Yeah, sure. And that was, that was a great draft class. I mean, we could talk about 96 and 84.
And he had 21 points last night.
Yeah,
right?
he did darn good. But he did really, really good.
Yeah, the guy who really cost Memphis last night, no one's talked about it. And they just fell in love with him. Charles Barkley, I think, wanted to adopt him. Was Desmond Bane. He had 8 points.
Yeah.
How can you have 8 points in a game where Ja's not in there and you got nothing out of the backcourt?
Well, that was the funny thing, and I get it, the back injury thing and all that kind of stuff, and nobody's completely 110% healthy playing in the playoffs right now. Let's get that out of the way. But I always wonder, how much does Memphis's success really rely on his contribution, how good he has to be? And Tyus Jones was good, last night and a couple others, but, how good does Desmond Bane have to be? Coming out of TCU, I thought he was good. I wasn't sure he was an NBA player. He's shown himself to be really good, but they've got a really good ball club. It's just about if they're all going to be able to stay together.
Yeah. And we've got 2 other series going. Other than Golden State, which was the 3 seed against the 2, they're up 3-1 now. The other 3, the 2-2 series, which lower seeded team would be the underdog in the series, do you think has a chance to win 2 of the last 3 and steal it?
So who do we have? You got
Philly, Milwaukee against Boston. You got Philly against Miami, and you got Dallas against Phoenix.
I'm not going to go Dallas.
Okay.
I'm not going there. I think that team would probably be Milwaukee. It feels like Milwaukee is the greater seed just because they won a championship last year and just they playing so well. No disrespect to Boston because they really played well last night.
Yeah.
I tell you what, as much as I definitely want to say much more Milwaukee than Philly, if Joel Embiid is taking just that personal, not getting that MVP, then it could very well be them. But I think a lot of that is going to show, and it's going to start in this very next game.
All right, let's talk for a minute about the MVP vote. You don't have a vote, right?
No,
I don't either.
I don't have a vote. You don't have a vote?
I do not.
Jack Evelyn doesn't.
Nope.
Well, look what we got here. That Jack actually doesn't have a vote on.
He's
something.
Our basketball savant. This guy doesn't have a vote. What do you mean talking about me? When you look at the 3 finalists,
sure,
rank them for me.
I feel like I'm missing one because
it was leaked
the obvious
that the final three, they announced the final three, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That's right, Giannis, yeah. Rank them in terms of where I think they should have finished
how you would have
this
voted.
year.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
I definitely would have voted Embiid number one.
Mm-hmm. Most people I talked to say that Embiid was number one, so why didn't he win?
That's a question for the vote. I'm not the voter.
Were you surprised when you heard the leak that he didn't win?
Surprised? No.
Okay. Did you expect it?
I expected it.
Really?
Surprised? No.
I didn't. I thought Embiid would win.
I mean, you asked me 700, 800 something days ago, we'd be walking around here with masks on our faces and all that stuff. That's surprising to me. This isn't surprising. But I you know what? I think we're going to learn a lot about Joel Embiid in this series.
I've heard some crazy explanations in the last 24 hours for why Embiid didn't win.
I can't wait to hear this. Pop the popcorn in the back.
All right. One of them is, and I've talked about this before, so I guess I can't say it's too crazy.
Sure.
The I-95 corridor bias. What happens in the Northeast from Boston down to D.C., it seems like there are more voters. It seems like what happens in the East, they used to say with Major League Baseball that doesn't exist west of the Hudson River. And I think that there are a ton of voters who tend to vote for teams in the East and do not vote for teams in the West.
Sure.
Don't see them.
Sure.
Then I heard that, okay, well, this is a anti-Embiid vote. People who don't like him, or that there's a racial element to this.
Oh, geez. Not the racial. We're still on we're still doing the racial stuff.
You can't get away from it. It's there, and it comes back. It's just like a dandelion. You pull it, and then it pops back up. And sometimes justifiably so. This time I'm not buying it. I don't think people really relate to Nikola Jokic as being some American great white hope.
I tell you what, I think one of the things is, and of course I don't know this, and I can kind of see if this is the case for some people, what Nikola Jokic is able to do in this type of NBA, being a guy who's not extremely athletic, like athletically challenged almost,
right.
But able, the vision, the passing ability, the ability to score the basketball, inside, outside guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is something that holds a lot of weight in the eyes of people. And I'm not completely mad about that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about what someone did over the course of a season, how being the most valuable player. I'm not mad at all about about Nikola Jokic being the MVP. I'm not outraged. Right. I'm not irate by this.
Well, now it's back-to-back MVPs.
Yeah.
Because Giannis won it 2 years in a row,
sure.
And now, so if you win it, maybe you win it again.
And I feel like this is one of those years where I feel like every now and then we have these types of years where somebody gets it on the back end of a back-to-back and is like, that first year, okay, this year, I don't know. Like
Steve Nash had that, right?
Come on. Living in there rent-free, Jack. I'm going to have to start charging you rent for living in my head rent-free. That's exactly where
I was
going.
Get out of Deshaun's head.
Steve Nash. Yeah. I think a lot of people said, who was it, Shaq that year? Most people said, I think it was either Shaq or Kobe Bryant. One of the two. I think it was Shaquille O'Neal. That a lot of people said should have gotten it that year, but this is what we're looking at. But guess what? If you do more than enough, maybe it just wasn't enough.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is who you have helping you. And I think that's one of the things that worked for Steve Nash, as opposed to those Laker guys who had each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked for Nikola Jokic this year because who didn't he have?
He didn't have Murray.
Didn't have
Jamal Murray. He didn't have Porter Jr.
Didn't have Michael Porter Jr. Didn't have second and third best players are gone.
Yep.
Someone said, I know who it was. It was Dan Issel.
Okay.
Former Nuggets star and coach. Now he's a broadcaster.
Sure.
He said without Nikola Jokic, they would not have won 25 games. They would have been the Detroit Pistons.
I can see some of that.
Yeah.
Especially, but here's the thing. Not even just about not having Nikola Jokic, but also because you don't have those other two guys.
Right.
I think you got to give them guys a little bit of credit too. Respect to Nikola Jokic.
All right, a couple things we got to catch up on here very quickly. One of them got some terrible news yesterday about AP, Adrian Payne, and now we know more. Stand your ground, ladies and gentlemen. I hate that law. But it's big in the state of Florida, and we'll see what happens in the trial. Domestic dispute. There was a call made. AP's girlfriend who's come over to break that up before was called over, and after midnight, so she said, Adrian, would you come with me? And they show up. Next thing you know, their words exchanged. I don't think Payne got out of his car. Guy goes in the house and picks up a 9mm. End of a life.
Yeah.
He will be beyond missed, revered, treasured. I don't know if you saw Draymond today. He has challenged all Spartans.
I did not. Okay.
To do something significant, honoring Adrian Payne, and he said, "Here's my first $100,000." Boom.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to be. Some sort of a special fund, maybe involving Dayton. I don't know what form it's going to take. Okay, that's still in the formative stages. But the outpouring of love. Guy was drafted 15th by the Hawks.
Absolutely.
Your memories of Adrian Payne?
Yeah. The player that he showed me that he could be.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I didn't know Adrian as a person. I don't want to pretend to be.
Yeah.
Around the time that he got drafted by the Hawks is when I started to pick up somewhat significant time at the former station that I was at the time, and had a chance to develop at least a little bit of getting to know. Very little of getting to know of Adrian Payne, but I just remember the player. You know, when you start talking about, listen, I mean, Jaren Jackson was a great stretch for Michigan State in that 1 year.
Yeah.
But the run that Michigan State went on, although they didn't make a Final Four during his time there at Michigan State, nonetheless, you know, being a guy that could stretch the defense the way that he could. One of the biggest reasons, knowing what the NBA has been going, the direction that the NBA is going into, is a huge reason behind why he got drafted. Those first 2 years, I just wasn't sure.
As he did everything else, was a guy who wasn't supposed to be eligible in high school, and he did that through hard work after, late at night after practice, and then in here, a lot of people said, well, will he be eligible? Will he ever graduate? He did everything you could ask. And then, his career in the NBA wasn't what people imagined it would be, but he became a champ overseas. Last thing for you. Sorry, we gotta keep going because we got Tom Lang out here and we got some golf guests. But,
don't worry.
Carson Cooper, commitment from Jackson, went to IMG after a stop at Ypsi Prep, very short stop. Did well enough at IMG that he brought in a lot of interest, and Tom Izzo said, this is a guy who's going to be really good. He's not really good right now, but 6'11", 220, and quick, and he is a project. Jackson Kohler is going to be on the floor a lot next year. You will not see Carson Cooper there, but down the line, they think he can be something. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of him, let alone in person, but even in terms of just seeing a full game beyond highlights.
Yeah.
So I don't like to be too overly judgmental, but and respectfully, I say this: is this Thomas Kithier, or what is
taller than Thomas Kithier?
Sure,
3 inches taller.
Sure, I'm just mean effect on the game.
Might be quicker than Thomas Kithier,
probably. Hopefully,
but not ready to play. Yeah, I think that most people would agree.
Best
that
of
they
luck
put him
to
in the
him.
game next year.
I think the biggest thing, and I know we got to get out of here. I think the biggest thing is a lot of eyes are on what Tom Izzo and this team has been able to do over the off season and with transfers and all this other stuff. How much he's diving into it, and so we're looking at it. Yeah,
he's not doing diving.
Yeah, it's clear.
He's resisting it.
Yeah,
he and Dabo Swinney and a few others.
Sure.
All right. Thanks so much for coming by. Sorry it didn't work out for you to get here earlier.
Yeah, no worries.
Always great to have Deshaunte. He's coming. The fans, they're going through the door.
Yeah.
Don't let those people in here.
I think they're going to throw tomatoes.
We will be right back. And Tom Lang is here waiting patiently. It is our long drive segment coming up on The Drive with Jack.
At Culver's, we believe there's a right way to prepare a North Atlantic cod fillet sandwich, the traditional way. By traditional, we mean the way it's done all across the Midwest. We start with the finest, hand-cut cod fillets, batter each by hand, and cook crispy golden to order. No shortcuts, just hot and flaky, hand-battered goodness. So good.
It's a tradition, all right. Culver's North Atlantic cod fillet dinner or sandwich. Welcome to Delicious.
If your next event or holiday party has you feeling stressed and overwhelmed, don't be. Voted Lansing's best new restaurant by Top of the Town, One North Kitchen and Bar has catering for every occasion from an award-winning chef. Book your next event by calling 517-901-5001. One North is the perfect place to get with family and friends for all the big games. Also voted Lansing's best sports bar, they have over 40 TVs, feature scratch cooking, amazing craft cocktails, and the largest draft beer selection in West Lansing. That's One North Kitchen and Bar, where friends and family gather to make good times great.
Time for a career change? Looking to make a difference? Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our dedicated team of school bus professionals. Dean Transportation has immediate openings and offers paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license. With increased starting pay, benefit packages, flexible scheduling with weekday hours, and more, Dean Transportation may be the career choice for you. No experience needed. Apply now and train all summer. Head to deanjobs.com.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Consumer debt is on the rise as Americans try to keep up with soaring prices. Data released by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows household debt increased by $266 billion in the first quarter of this year. Credit card balances rose $71 billion from 1 year ago. Mortgage, car loans, and student loan balances also increased. Overall household debt is now $1.7 trillion, higher than in 2019 before the pandemic. The White House is defending President Biden's labeling of many Republicans as ultra MAGA.
What has struck him is how extreme some of the policies and proposals are, that a certain wing of the Republican Party that is taking up too much of the Republican Party are for.
Press Secretary Jen Psaki made an if the shoe fits argument while speaking to reporters. The Biden label covers conservative supporters of former President Trump in Congress. MAGA is shorthand for Trump's slogan, Make America Great Again. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Jack Ebling here with Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Matt, people buying cars different ways now with inventory changes.
They certainly are, Jack. It's a wild time, but we're still selling them. You might not see them on the lot, but they're still coming in every day, and we're still delivering them. So what we're finding is a lot of people, they come in, and they actually place an order for the vehicle instead of finding one on the lot that they want. Then that comes in within 7-8 weeks, and they take delivery.
We'll still want that great Graph service. They're making friends.
When it's your moment, that once-in-a-lifetime moment, you don't just want jewelry. You can get that anywhere. You want a memory that will go down in history, your moment. We're Medawar, crafted with exquisite style, quality, and love, so your present will be stunning every time you look at it, every time someone notices it, and they will notice. We've devoted our lives to this art, and we're proud to share it with you. The gift you want to give is here.
Medawar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, Portage, and Brighton.
There is definitely an art to handcrafting a rich, creamy Culver's concrete mixer. Start by scooping our so incredibly fresh vanilla or chocolate frozen custard. Then add whatever mix-ins you crave. Cookie dough, salted caramel, Butterfinger. Blend till you get the perfect balance of goodies from top to bottom. Indulge in a thing of beauty.
Come to Culver's and let us create a concrete mixer masterpiece just for you-know-who. Welcome to Delicious.
This is your Tuesday afternoon Spotlight on Sports Update. I'm Rob Bennett. Michigan State men's basketball alum Draymond Green and his wife Hazel announced last night they will donate $100,000 to a fund in Adrian Payne's name. Of course, Adrian passed away tragically yesterday morning in Florida. Hey, it's been doubleheader action at Comerica Park today between the Tigers and the Oakland A's. But don't forget, tomorrow night, the series continues with a 7:10 first pitch. The Lansing Lugnuts fell to Dayton in some early afternoon baseball today in East Lansing, 5-4. Michigan State baseball is in action tonight at number 14 Notre Dame, 6 p.m. first pitch. Michigan State women's golf finished 5th in the first round of the NCAA Regionals. We will keep you posted on day 2 throughout the show. In NBA playoffs tonight, it's crucial Game 5s as both series are tied at 2 apiece. First, Philadelphia is in Miami, then it's Dallas in Phoenix. In Stanley Cup playoffs, it's also crucial Game 5s, as all these series are also tied at 2 games apiece. Carolina's in Boston, Tampa Bay is in Toronto, St. Louis is in Minnesota, and the Kings are in Edmonton. Staying on the ice, the NHL Draft Lottery is also taking place tonight at 8:30 p.m. The Detroit Red Wings have a 6% chance at the number 1 overall selection, with the Montreal Canadiens being the favorite at 18.5%. Stay tuned for more with The Drive with Jack right now on Spotlight.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Rob Bennett, and in studio, Tom Lang, Mr. Michigan Golf Journal. Am I supposed to call it MI Golf Journal now?
Both work, but...
what would you prefer?
I like MI Golf Journal only because that's the new website address and it's my Twitter handle.
By debating whether we should call it Michigan Golf Journal or MI Golf Journal, you realize we've just said the name 6 more times.
All true.
There you go. All right.
That's good for Google, right?
Yes. It is time for the long drive, brought to you by the Lynx at Hunters Ridge. Can't wait to get out and see that, which I will be doing shortly. And Tom, we have a couple of guests today. And you want to start with Gary Kendra?
Yeah, Gary and I met a few years ago when he saw my magazine, and we developed a relationship. Him and a couple of other people are new partners at Lynx of Hunters Ridge, and really nice little course out north of Howell, not far from Lansing or Bend, Michigan at all. And happy to have you on the show, Gary. How's it going today?
Great. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jack. It's a great day for golf, finally.
Don't get many of them. You got to cherish every one, right?
Exactly. But the weather's turning. It's been cold and soggy, but I think spring/summer has finally arrived.
Can you put into words from an owner's perspective of how much of a struggle it can be when there's a wet or cold spring when you're a golf course owner?
Well, I feel like a farmer. Well, Joe Measley, who we bought the course from, told me that he got out of one weather-dependent business and into another. And so I look at the weather a lot more. And part of it is the early season planning. Last year we opened the course in March 20th or thereabouts, and this year we had a few good weekends and a few good days interspersed, but really in the last week or two is really when the weather's finally warming up, conditions are drying out, and we're ready to go. And part of the challenge is obviously staffing, and when do you bring your help on to gear up for the season? You know, you're at the mercy of the weather. And then operationally, I think we're something like a car wash. When it's raining, nobody washes their car. When it's raining, nobody's golfing. So it is a very weather-dependent business, and you try not to get too worked up about the ebbs and flows because you're going to have good days and bad days, and there are going to be days when you're closed due to the weather.
Yeah, and this is maybe a bad example, but I grew up as a kid and a college student painting houses, and same thing, very weather-dependent, at least if you're going to be outdoors. So I moved to all indoor painting, and it was much better that way. But yeah, what kind of things have been going on at your course this spring? I don't know about you, but it just seems like in 10 days, every golf course everywhere just lit up with green.
Yeah, finally the weather's turning. You know, right now is when the league starts. So the league play generally starts in, depending on the league, early April or early May. So we're gearing up for league play. We think it's going to be a pretty good year this year. You know, the numbers are looking pretty good in terms of the increase in rounds played, and watching some of the more national metrics on golf. You know, the pandemic has been a blessing and a curse for golf. We were shut down, obviously, during the pandemic, and but it also brought a lot more people out to golf. I think during the pandemic, when the governor shut down the golf courses, a lot of people wanted to play golf, or a lot of people who didn't play golf decided, I want to go play golf because it's something I could do outside, do safely. And so in that respect, it's been quite interesting.
Yeah, and you made a comment to me recently that you think Topgolf has been a real big driver with getting new golfers out to the golf course. What have you seen with that phenomenon?
Well, we're seeing a lot more couples. We're seeing a lot of younger players coming in, and I think Topgolf and things like that is getting people to get comfortable swinging the club and not be intimidated because it's a friendly environment and it's a party environment. But if you look at some of the statistics, Topgolf, people transitioning from not playing golf at all to playing golf at Topgolf with their friends, kind of go, gee, this is kind of fun. It would be really interesting to get out on the course and try it there. So I think that's been one of the drivers. And I also think the demographics are changing. We're seeing more women golfers and more couples and more younger people getting into the game, which I think is great for the game.
Yeah, what are some of the really nice things that you're proud of as an owner going on at Hunters Ridge, whether it's the last 3 weeks or 3 years that you think golfers would really enjoy if they came out and tried you for the first time?
Well, we've done a lot of improvements. When we bought the course in 2019, there was a lot of deferred maintenance. It's a great course. It's a Jerry Matthews design course, but the industry got hit really hard in 2012, and Hunters Ridge was one of the courses that struggled to recover. And then what happens is, you start cutting costs wherever you can. Our traps were a fraction of what they were originally. We had a big trap project last year to bring the traps back, equipment, maintenance, repairs, and stuff like that. So one of the challenges we had was, building back to where we were. And then in terms of offering going forward, we secured a liquor license that had only beer and wine previously. We are introducing a kitchen this year where we'll have hot food on the course as opposed to just hot dogs. And we're adding more amenities for the players. But at the end of the day, it's all about the golf. And so we're spending a lot of attention to really improving the golf course playing conditions and improving the course as a whole.
Gary, can you talk about the character of the course and maybe what players describe it after they've had a chance to play it?
Well, we're a little bit unique. We're out in the country, so we're probably 25 miles from Lansing, give or take, and 45 minutes from Detroit, and we're what we call a prairie link style course. Mm-hmm. So at our course, you won't see a lot of trees, big greens, very undulating greens, wide open spaces, but then we have the gunch or the heather that if your ball goes in there, good luck. So we're trying to widen the course a little bit, but also keep it challenging. We have 4 sets of tee boxes, so players at all skill levels can play what's appropriate for them, and really trying to focus on the course experience.
Talk about the changes with the course and some adjustments you have wanted to make. Players tend to get an image or a perception of a course once they played it. How do you change that? How do you make them see, hey, this is a new links at Hunters Ridge, and you got to give it another look?
Yeah, well, a part of what we did was the branding. So it was Hunters Ridge Golf Course. We wanted to capitalize on being more of a links prairie style course with a little more bump and run, very few trees. We have maybe 1 or 2 holes with trees, and a lot of it is just the cleanup, the brush cleanup, stuff like that. The architecture is what it is. So the original course layout, you're not really going to change that much, but you're trying to improve the greens, trying to improve the traps, trying to improve the playing conditions, and make it a fun and challenging yet playable course.
And how's business?
Business, well, we started off slow this year. Business, we expect to uptick pretty good. And, since we bought the course, we've increased every year. And a lot of it is the outreach and letting people know it's out there. A lot of people probably never heard of Hunters Ridge before. Right. And it's just the way it was run historically. There wasn't a lot of advertising. They weren't taking care or focusing on social media and things like that. So we're doing advertising in the Detroit market because it's a good, not a real far drive for the condition of the course and the playing experience. Right. We're focusing on the Lansing market. So a lot of it is outreach and letting people know that, this isn't a new course, but it's got new ownership, and you may never have heard of it before, but it's a really fun track to go out and play.
Well, we're happy to help you with that, and I always say that we can help you get business, and you have to keep it. And it sounds like people who come to the new links at Hunters Ridge are going to be happy.
Yeah, I think they are. If you go back and look at our online reviews, they've been exceptional. People have been very supportive of what we're doing. And I think for the locals, they have always enjoyed the course and we're more familiar with it. And it's really expanding a little bit beyond that local Howell market where we're located in, north of Howell in northern Livingston County. So I think part of it is kind of getting your name out there and doing different things. We have this Friday the Metro Detroit Golfers, a group of about 55,000 golfers. We're having the course takeover for them, and we're going to bring some new folks out for that. We do some fun events every year and really trying to outreach to the broader community. Because I think a good course, if you have to drive a few minutes longer and it's worth the drive, people will still come out and play and appreciate it.
Well, I can personally vouch for that. I run a very small outing on purpose, the small size, every year at Hunters Ridge for the Michigan Freedom Center. It's a military lounge at Detroit Airport. But the players that come out, in almost every case, they've never played your place before, but they really like it a lot. They hang around after the event is over and order food and maybe go play another 9 or whatever. So that's been a great part. But the other question I wanted to ask you, Gary, was I don't know about Jack's friends or if he has any friends, but my friends...
Depends what time of day it is.
My friends and others I know always seem to look at price for golf courses, and they'll say, well, one of them 10 miles down the road is $50 and this other one's $39 or whatever. From a course owner's perspective, how difficult is it to figure out what's a fair market price, and is there a way you go about that you can share with us?
Well, we kind of look at what everybody else is doing. It's a competitive marketplace. We look at Jerry Matthews courses, which are all over the state, a great architect, and we're comparable to some of the top-notch courses by Jerry, and those are pretty considerably higher than we are in terms of pricing. But we're trying to price above mid-range, a little above mid-range in terms of where we are, because we want people to come out and play and experience it. Cheaper on the weekdays than on weekends, and there's deals to be had on Golf Now and some other things. We do group golfer, but pricing is always a challenge, and particularly this year, I think, because what's happened is everything has gone up. It's funny with the golf industry right now, there's a 2-year backlog on getting golf carts. Used golf carts before that were, $3,000 or $4,000 are going up to $5,000. All the help costs have gone up, and help has still been a challenge. So part of it is, balancing the cost increases and obviously you need to be cash flow positive for you to be a successful business, or you'll go out of business. But it's trying to provide a fair value for the price. And we do a lot of, looking at what others doing. We talk to other golf course owners and just try to find that sweet spot of, this is the right price for our type of course and what we offer.
Gary, I think Tom is trying to insinuate that all my friends are cheap, and he's right about that. But I would say thrifty is maybe a better.
That's what I am.
Yeah, exactly. So appreciate value, and it's great value at the links of Hunters Ridge. Can't wait to get out and see you.
Yeah, so we have senior rates during the week, not so much on weekends. And the play is interesting too. I think we draw. There's a lot of traveling golf groups out there that go to a lot of different courses, so we see a lot of that. I think on the weekends, we tend to get people driving a little farther and a little more local on the weekdays, and then the leagues supplement that. So we have leagues running literally every day.
Thanks so much for joining us, Gary. Appreciate it. Remind everyone who is looking for a different kind of challenge, and not too far. You don't have to go all the way up north. It's the links at Hunters Ridge and Howell, and we'll be out to see you very soon.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks for having me. GolfHuntersRidge.com for folks that are interested, and whether it's our course or someone else, I think the sport's increasing in popularity, and we want to see more people take on the game of golf.
Great. Thanks so much, Tom. We got guests here, and you got another one ready.
We do. Thank you again, Gary, for all your involvement with us. But now we're going to look way north above the mighty Mack Bridge to the Upper Peninsula. Dave Douglas, the director of golf at Island Resort and Casino Hotel, which is home to 2 really, really good, high-quality, nationally ranked golf courses that a lot of people don't even realize unless they look through the rankings of the magazines now and then, Sweetgrass and Sage Run. And Dave, did all the snow melt yet up in the UP, or are you still hanging on with some?
No, our snow is gone. Yeah, we've actually been having some pretty good weather this start of May here.
Tom Izzo jokes that the weather in the UP, you get 3 weeks of summer whether you want it or not. But I think that a lot of people who've been up and played golf in the UP have enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of nice courses up here in the UP. And, of course, like you mentioned, the 2 here at the Island Resort and Casino. Top quality conditions, got great rates, and we have no 2 holes look the same. So it's a nice golf getaway.
Yeah, a local favorite around here on the LPGA Tour is Liz Nagel, and her and I were talking about your place a few weeks ago, and she's played up there for the now Epson Tour that's been the Symetra Tour for many years, and she was saying that the pro golfers that come in there are just shocked at the perfect weather, beautiful conditions. They love the fresh, crisp, clean air that you don't get in most other parts of the country. It's just, is that how you would describe UP golf as well?
It is, yeah. Sweetgrass is what she's referring to. Yeah, it's be our 10th year with the tour, and yeah, she is correct. Yeah, they come usually toward the end of June, usually middle end of June, depending on their schedule. But conditions are incredible. Yeah, it's. I mean, I work there, but it's one of the nicest conditioned golf courses I've ever seen, and same at Sage Run for how relatively new it is. They're both in really top-notch condition.
Well, for golf fans who don't know it, Sweetgrass has consistently been in the top 20 ranked in the state of Michigan in places like Golf Week, Golf Digest, that kind of thing. Not necessarily nationwide, but top 20 in Michigan. And if you want to play great golf in Michigan and you limit yourself to the top 20, you're going to do really well.
Right, yeah. Sweetgrass is nice, yeah. We just by the National Golf Course Owners Association, we were voted Michigan Golf Course of the Year, and we went down to Orlando in January, and we actually won the National Golf Course of the Year. So we are very proud of that, and they take in consideration course conditions, what you do for the game of golf, both, promoting the game and also environmentally, and there's a bunch of different categories. And we were nominated by, his name was Kevin Frisch out of Gaylord. He's a marketing guy, and he nominated us, and we're all tickled pink that we ended up winning National Course of the Year.
Anytime you win a national award like that, you're going up against some big-time competition. Were you a little surprised when you got the word? I know you're proud of your property, but did you think, we're going up against courses all around the country for this?
Right, yeah. After you win your state, they put you into regions, and we were one of 4 courses left. So when we were down in Orlando, it coincides with the PGA show. You watch the videos of all 4 courses, and you're thinking, wow, how are we going to be able to win this? And we did. I mean, we kind of touched on each category that they were looking at, but yeah, we're very proud of that. It's a kind of a great marketing tool and testament of what we offer for golf, and we've been growing.
Yeah, as Dave mentioned, that award is based on multiple categories. Like he said, the community support, other things that you do outside the golf course as well as on the golf course. What's incredible to me is that 3 of the last 4 years, a Michigan golf course has won the National Golf Course of the Year. Dave, right. I don't know if you knew it, Dave, but I was told that you guys were up even against Stream Song this year. And
they were one of the 4 finalists.
Yeah. And when Gull Lake View down in the Battle Creek area won it last year or the year before, I can't remember, they were up against Pinehurst. Yep. So,
wow.
These awards are a big deal, but they
don't do this like by divisions or class or anything else,
no,
right?
You got to win your state first. Yeah, you win your state first of your local golf course owners groups, and then you move on and get judged, like Dave said. So, yeah, again, it's not about whether or not every blade of grass is in perfect condition or whatever. It's more about a holistic experience. But it's a great award, and you guys should feel really proud of it.
Right, we are. And like you said, in Michigan, 3 out of the last 4, and that's just a testament of what great golf Michigan offers. It's a great place to play.
So, Dave, once you win an award like this, how do you get better? How do you avoid complacency and keep improving?
Yeah, and then what they've done they've ever since I've started there, the casino, they just keep improving, adding to the whole resort as a whole. We just added another 128 rooms. They did a huge indoor water pool with water park features. A few years ago, they added a spa. So they try to keep the whole casino updated and new, to give people, so they keep coming back, so they don't get complacent with the same thing all the time. So Sage Run was the new course they added about 4 years ago at the same time they did the spa. And it's they're just trying to keep it fresh and new for everybody.
They don't guarantee that you win at the casino, though, right?
No, but a lot of people do.
They do.
That's right.
Yeah, your place started out with one hotel, about 4 or 5 stories, and then added a second one as far back as I can remember. But like you mentioned, there's now a third tower. There's no way to run out of rooms anymore. But in your new tower, you also added like special suites for golfers. Can you describe that a little bit?
Yeah, they have golf suites, one suite per floor. It's just so groups can kind of stay together, or if they have an odd number in their group, that room can accommodate 3, or you can sleep up to 6 if you wanted to. But also added a new restaurant on the top floor. It's a brand new steakhouse. They have over 400 rooms now, and 4 or 5 restaurants inside. It's once you're here, you park your car and you don't have to get in your car till it's time to go.
And you guys have a very special cooperative program called the Perfect Foursome to play your 2 courses, Sweetgrass and Sage Run. Then you can head north all the way up to Marquette and play Gray Walls. And then is it Timberstone?
Timberstone. It's about 45 minutes west. Yep.
That's the only one of the 4 I've not played, so I can't speak to it. But what kind of feedback do golfers give you guys about that special package?
Yeah, in most of our play, when people come up to the UP, that's what package they'll play. They'll hit each of the 4 courses, all ranked top 20 in Michigan. Great golf conditions. It's a great long weekend getaway. You can play a different course each day, stay 3 nights, and incredible rates. You can play all 4, stay 3 nights as low as $350 in the fall. Summertime, it's only $445.
You can play all 4 courses?
Yeah, it's amazing.
And 3 nights for that?
3 nights for that, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, $350 a person in the fall.
That's basically free golf, because that's what you would pay for your lodging only.
$350 for 3 nights lodging. You're getting the golf for free.
Basically.
Yeah.
At least
when we go to the...
According to downstaters, anyway. The pricing we're used to down here.
And when we go to the golf shows, that's where we kind of promote it like that. I said, either way you look at it, either your golf's free or your room's free, whatever you want to. It's hard to find a hotel room for 3 nights for $350 total. It's a nice casino. It's a very nice place.
Yeah, I love going up there. I only get up about once every 2 years, but when I do, I make the most of it and really enjoy it. So we really appreciate having you with us, Dave, sharing that information with people who've never crossed the bridge and probably should consider doing that nowadays.
Yeah, it is. They really enjoy it. We realize it's quite a drive from Lower Michigan. Most of our play comes out of Wisconsin, but
yeah,
they'd enjoy it. Top-notch golf, great facility, and at a very affordable price.
And if you're a Michigan State fan, Michigan State men's team plays every September up there at the Sage Run Collegiate. So great way for them to start off the season. This last fall, James Pyatt won it with tying one of his teammates. So it's just a really cool event if somebody wanted to do that.
Has Izzo played this course? Do you know?
Good question. Does Izzo visit you guys?
He has not. Timberstone and Gray Walls, they've had him and himself and Steve Mariucci have had fundraiser golf events in Iron Mountain yet, but have not been to our facilities yet. So maybe when he retires.
Your facility will get a few more divots when he shows up, so that's...
yeah, get the groundskeepers out.
Appreciate you joining us, Dave. Sounds like a great little vacation spot or something you can do even for half a week as you say, the 3-night package would be very popular. Really appreciate you being on with us.
Yeah, glad to be on. Thanks. Thanks for having us.
Tom, a couple pretty interesting guests when you think about golf throughout the state of Michigan. And, you can go from Howell up to the UP, but there's a reason that Michigan is considered a golf mecca in terms of not just the number of holes, but the quality of courses that bring people in from all around the country.
People have been flocking to Michigan a lot more the last 10, 12 years, even northern Michigan. The Traverse City Airport has opened up to a lot of airlines. Not that they didn't want them before. The airlines finally caught on that people want to fly into Traverse City, especially in the summer, and play golf. There's a natural pipeline going back 50, 60 years between northern Michigan's natural resources and people in Texas and Dallas area because there's shared oil interests and other minerals. So people from Texas have been coming to Michigan for a long time. But now one of the most popular flights out of Dallas goes to Traverse City direct, not changing planes. So that type of phenomenon has helped northern Michigan bring in people from the south who want to play in the summer but not in the heat down there where they live.
Traverse City have a lot of direct flights like that? I'm not familiar with that airport.
There's like 17 a week from Dallas, Washington, D.C., Charlotte, Atlanta. The airport up there and the Chamber of Commerce and whatnot, I've worked hard to draw in those airlines to be willing to do it. But they got full-size runway, so they bring them in.
Next week, we will be getting ready for the PGA, right?
It comes on Memorial Day weekend, the senior PGA.
I meant the...
my apologies. Okay, you
PGA
mean the regular one
the regular
in Oklahoma,
PGA.
I think,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Isn't that the weekend of the 18th through the 20th or something like that, 21st?
The calendar gets so mushy in my head because I'm also thinking of Michigan Amateur, Michigan Open. But the senior PGA is first over at Memorial Day at Harbor Shores.
You got tournaments swirling around in that brain of yours.
I skipped a senior PGA media event to be here today.
Oh.
I know.
How about that? Well, we'll remind Jim Stark of that in a few minutes, that Tom Lang skips golf to be here. And really appreciate you being here as always.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. If anyone wants to read more about that National Course of the Year, it's my January cover story at migolfjournal.com.
January.
Just go to
also
archives.
known as Michigan Golf Journal.
That's right. Just go to the archives at that website and look for January, and you can learn more about it. Like I say, it's a really unique award. It's not about ratings. It's about all-encompassing.
And the new issue of MI Golf Journal just showed up in my inbox.
It did. I've already forgotten who's on the cover because I'm already preparing for June. It's the Meyer LPGA is on the cover, and the majority of the magazine is previews of all the professional tour stops coming to Michigan this year.
We'll be right back, and we're going to talk with Jim Stark about baseball and Tigers trying to sweep a doubleheader. Just used to them getting swept in series, so this would be quite a departure. We'll be right back on The Drive with Jack.
At Culver's, we believe there's a right way to prepare a North Atlantic cod fillet sandwich, the traditional way. By traditional, we mean the way it's done all across the Midwest. We start with the finest, hand-cut cod fillets, batter each by hand, and cook crispy golden to order. No shortcuts, just hot and flaky, hand-battered goodness. So good.
It's a tradition, all right. Culver's North Atlantic cod fillet dinner or sandwich. Welcome to Delicious.
If your next event or holiday party has you feeling stressed and overwhelmed, don't be. Voted Lansing's best new restaurant by Top of the Town, One North Kitchen and Bar has catering for every occasion from an award-winning chef. Book your next event by calling 517-901-5001. One North is the perfect place to get with family and friends for all the big games. Also voted Lansing's best sports bar, they have over 40 TVs, feature scratch cooking, amazing craft cocktails, and the largest draft beer selection in West Lansing. That's One North Kitchen and Bar, where friends and family gather to make good times great.
Time for a career change? Looking to make a difference? Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our dedicated team of school bus professionals. Dean Transportation has immediate openings and offers paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license. With increased starting pay, benefit packages, flexible scheduling with weekday hours, and more, Dean Transportation may be the career choice for you. No experience needed. Apply now and train all summer. Head to deanjobs.com.
Google is set to announce some new stuff. Tech Giants' annual developer conference gets underway Wednesday, and there are ongoing rumors about the search giant's first wearable, the Pixel Watch, as well as a mid-range counterpart to last year's Pixel 6 smartphones. It's possible we could also see a new pair of true wireless earbuds announced. On the software side, there's Android 13, the next major version of Google's mobile operating software. And maybe we get a surprise or two like a foldable device. Microsoft launching some new cybersecurity services to help its clients. Among the new products will be Defender Experts for Hunting that involves engineers flagging issues they find in clients' devices, and Defender Experts for XDR that helps companies take action on threats. NFTs are coming to Instagram this week, and users will be able to display non-fungible tokens on their profiles. Users will be able to share NFTs they've created or bought in their feed, stories, and messages. Tech Report, Larry Olson, NBC News Radio.
Jack Ebling here with Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Matt, people buying cars different ways now with inventory changes.
They certainly are, Jack. It's a wild time, but we're still selling them. You might not see them on the lot, but they're still coming in every day, and we're still delivering them. So what we're finding is a lot of people, they come in and they actually place an order for the vehicle instead of finding one on the lot that they want. Then that comes in within 7-8 weeks, and they take delivery.
We'll still want that great Graph service. They're making friends.
When it's your moment, that once-in-a-lifetime moment, you don't just want jewelry. You can get that anywhere. You want a memory that will go down in history, your moment. We're Medawar, crafted with exquisite style, quality, and love, so your present will be stunning every time you look at it, every time someone notices it, and they will notice. We've devoted our lives to this art, and we're proud to share it with you. The gift you want to give is here.
Medawar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, Portage, and Brighton.
There is definitely an art to handcrafting a rich, creamy Culver's concrete mixer. Start by scooping our so incredibly fresh vanilla or chocolate frozen custard. Then add whatever mix-ins you crave. Cookie dough, salted caramel, Butterfinger. Blend till you get the perfect balance of goodies from top to bottom. Indulge in a thing of beauty.
Come to Culver's and let us create a concrete mixer masterpiece just for you-know-who. Welcome to Delicious.
This is your Tuesday afternoon Spotlight on Sports Update. I'm Rob Bennett. Michigan State men's basketball alum Draymond Green and his wife Hazel announced last night they will donate $100,000 to a fund in Adrian Payne's name. Of course, Adrian passed away tragically yesterday morning in Florida. Hey, it's been doubleheader action at Comerica Park today between the Tigers and the Oakland A's. But don't forget, tomorrow night, the series continues with a 7:10 first pitch. The Lansing Lugnuts fell to Dayton in some early afternoon baseball today in East Lansing, 5-4. Michigan State baseball is in action tonight at number 14 Notre Dame, 6 p.m. first pitch. Michigan State women's golf finished 5th in the first round of the NCAA Regionals. We will keep you posted on day 2 throughout the show. In NBA playoffs tonight, it's crucial Game 5s as both series are tied at 2 apiece. First, Philadelphia's in Miami, then it's Dallas in Phoenix. In Stanley Cup playoffs, it's also crucial Game 5s, as all these series are also tied at 2 games apiece. Carolina's in Boston, Tampa Bay's in Toronto, St. Louis is in Minnesota, and the Kings are in Edmonton. Staying on the ice, the NHL Draft Lottery is also taking place tonight at 8:30 p.m. The Detroit Red Wings have a 6% chance at the number 1 overall selection, with the Montreal Canadiens being the favorite at 18.5%. Stay tuned for more with The Drive with Jack right now on Spotlight.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. We are watching the second game of the doubleheader between the Tigers and the A's, and Miguel Cabrera just grounded out to shortstop It's not often you see a runner retired by 45 feet, but that's kind of what you get these days. Want to welcome in Jim Stark, is Executive Director of the Michigan Sports Legacy Conservancy. Jim, we wanted to wait until the Tigers won before we had you on, and I thought it might be July, but...
Talk about a necessary win, huh? They needed something to try to break the string, and they got a really good effort today out of Tarik Skubal. It's some timely hitting. Well, what a surprise. They did well when they got hitting and pitching the same game.
Yeah, I remember when Skubal came up and Mize was there and all the buzz, and I said then that Tarik Skubal will be a better major league pitcher than Casey Mize, and I see nothing to change my mind.
Well, it goes to show you have to wonder sometimes, Jack, what good do all these draft, organizing meetings and all this stuff? They took Skubal in the 9th round, for crying out loud. It goes to show you that it's as much luck and a crapshoot as anything else in baseball draft. Casey Mize has every chance of being a good pitcher, but right now I'd put Skubal ahead of him in his progress, and certainly has a higher upside.
Yeah. And Jonathan Schoop, who'd been on the side of a milk carton, has a homer, and now here he is with a hit, his first at bat in the nightcap. To say that Tigers needed this win, they were on pace heading into today, Jim, to win 46.3 games.
No, they have been... We knew, Jack, that it might be some questions on the young pitching because they're unproven. We thought the hitting was more proven. We thought when you add guys like Baez and Austin Meadows to returning players like a Jonathan Schoop, the only guy that I thought doesn't surprise you too much is Purdue because it's a second year. We didn't know what to expect. But remember, when I set my predictions, I was thinking either a Torkelson or Green would have a Rookie of the Year kind of season. So far, Green hasn't played yet because of the injury, and Torkelson's become nowhere close to that. So missing that bat has really hurt my predictions.
Yeah, and when you think that heading into today's game, Tigers had scored 29 runs in the last 15 games. That's not even 2 runs per game. And they had more shutout losses than they had victories. So when that happens, you are going to have the worst record in the American League.
It's not unlike, Jack, the way the Pistons started. Remember how surprised we were
when
they started out so poorly? This is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Nobody that I talked to expected this kind of a start. Sure, it might not have been, out of the gates, 35-5, but certainly no one expected this lack of hitting out of the. Well, now when you add guys like Baez and Meadows to an improving lineup, that lineup improved. One of the things I say to people I talk to, tell me one person in that lineup who's having a better year this year than they had last year, and you're hard pressed to find one.
Maybe Castro.
Maybe, but he had a pretty good year last year, and he hasn't bad enough to really make a difference.
Right.
But yeah, none of the key players, none of them are doing better than they did last year. Most are doing appreciably worse. Maybe Cabrera, you might say, might be on a level with last year, but that level is not Cabrera of 5 years ago. It's Cabrera of last year.
No, and he's had some games where, he's had flashes, 3-hit games, but still batting below 250. And 1 home run, and was he have 9 RBI?
Yeah, to me, Jonathan Schoop is the biggest missing, as you said, missing on the side of the milk carton, because he was at times their best hitter last year, usually one of the best hitters. They signed him to a 2-year deal in the off season. He was the veteran. He was the guy you could count on. To me, that's one of the biggest. Him and the fact that Torkelson has not started out anywhere near a Rookie of the Year kind of a season. Those are the two things that have really hurt the offense as much as anything else.
Well, the other guy in the infield, I think there's been a major letdown, has been Jeimer Candelario.
Oh, it's so unpredictable, Jack, so up and down. You cannot have a winning team when you don't know what to expect out of one of your key players. Are you getting a 3-hit, 2-double game, or are you getting a no-hit, 3-strikeout with 2 error game? And either one could happen.
I know that Comerica Park is not exactly hitter friendly, not for the long ball, but I see other teams hit home runs there. Why have the Tigers had so much trouble clearing the bases?
Well, I can't explain it. I think baseball-wide, though, Jack, there's a lack of power this year. So you're going to start wondering, are the balls now loosened, not as tightly packed as they were? Is baseball trying to cut back? And I don't know. But certainly with the Tigers, nobody has stepped up with any kind of leadership power, right? Nobody's had a 2-home run game. No one's had a week where they hit 4 home runs or 5 home runs. And they've got guys with power. Certainly Scope is one. Certainly Baez is one. Certainly Meadows is one. These guys all have proven 25 to 30 home run power. I think the fact that the Grossman has done almost nothing after 25 home runs last year, that hurts you a little bit. It's like a complete team collapse. There's no one area you can say this part is not doing well. There's a complete lack of team power.
Well, and I think maybe we assumed because guys had good years last year that they were going to have better years this year. Maybe last year was the amount.
Give me the same year as last year, Jack.
Yeah.
I don't have to have better years, but give me something close. The problem is they're 50% worse than last year or more.
Yeah, and when you look at a situation like Grossman, you talk about some of the other guys last year, Baddoo, certainly. I don't know if those were career years. It was for Baddoo. But Scope, he had a good year last year. I think better than his career averages. So that's not going to happen all the time. And I still say when you have a lack of power production at your corner outfields and infields and DH in those 5 spots, good luck.
No, you're right, Jack, and you can get around that a little bit if let's say if you have a good second base or shortstop power, you might be able to get away without a power third baseman. But you're right, you can't get away with all of them, right? And Meadows has been a consistent 25 home run a year guy, has not come close to that this year.
Right.
And one thing I'm surprised about, Jack, I thought by adding Baez and Meadows and these guys to the lineup, they would help make the lineup more difficult to pitch through. This seems like it's easier this year to pitch through this lineup.
Does Meadows have a home run? I know he's...
I think he might have one, Jack.
Okay. I thought I heard him say he had a fly ball today and he was still looking for his first, but I could be wrong about that.
I would have expected someone to have 5 or 6. And remember last year, Jack, let's not discount this. Last year, the catchers, whoever it was catching came up with big home runs. Those catchers had 15 home runs by the end of June.
Right.
And they're getting nothing out of the catching position, nothing.
Well, when you say that, there's a power outage around the major leagues, and I'm not just talking about the Yankee sluggers. You got 3 guys there with 25. I'm just looking the other night, and Ohtani's hitting 2. This guy, Josh Naylor. Hear about him last night?
Yeah.
Josh Naylor. The Cleveland Guardians, they're down 4, 2 out in the 9th against the White Sox. Down to their last at bat, he hits a grand slam to tie it. He comes up again in the 11th, and he hits a 3-run homer to win it in a span of 3 innings. This guy has 2 homers and 7 RBI, including a game winner.
And you take the Tigers' heroics last week when there was a big home run by Candelario to tie the game, and what happens? The bullpen comes out and gives the game away the next day. So there's no momentum. They can't seem to get any of this energy bunched together. And sometimes all it takes is one good game, or maybe this first game today, is the kind of game they need to give them a little momentum. But I'll tell you right now, until they start hitting some home runs, and I've never been wait for the home run kind of guy. I've always been for, hey, I'll give me 2 doubles in place of a home run anytime. But they're not getting the doubles either. So get something started.
Yeah. Where do we go from here? Getting some guys back, some players getting healthier. What do you think?
Well, what we've seen this week now, we see Alex Faedo, another one of the young guys on the horizon, getting a second start today. We see Joey Wentz, another one of these highly touted pitchers who the Tigers got in a trade with Atlanta, who was out for a year with Tommy John, getting his first start. Now we heard that Manning had a really good rehab start down in Toledo. Mize will start this week, I think, down in Florida. So you're getting some positive news on the pitching front, which is good. But where's the positives on the hitting front? Where is that going to come from to kind of spur this lineup? Is it going to be one guy getting hot? Baez could carry this team for a week if he has one of those hot streaks.
Yeah.
But I don't see it yet.
You know what else he could do? He could carry his bat back to the dugout after his third strikeout of the night.
The same game, exactly. Yep. Yeah. So again, I don't want to keep belaboring about Schoop, but he's the kind of workmanlike guy, game in, game out, always gives you a good effort. And I think he's trying. Yeah. He's just not producing. And when no one's producing, and you lose so many one-run games, and you lose 2-1 and 3-2 or shutout, those are winnable games, Jack.
Yeah.
When you give up 3 runs or less, that's a winnable game anytime in the major leagues.
Well, we wish you could have been here today, Jim. I know you had other obligations, and obviously the mourning over the loss of Adrian Payne continues.
Yeah, what a shock that is, too, Jack. My condolences to his family and friends, and no one 31 should ever die like that. It's just knocks everything out of balance.
Guns, too many of them. Don't want to get political about this.
No,
but,
I get it. It just changes the course of too many lives in such a violent way.
I want to see the guy who was going to stab him to death. We have a fund now, not we, but I guess Draymond Green is the guy who originated
I heard about his
this.
Very generous gift.
Yeah.
Yep.
And since you weren't here today, we put you down for $25,000. So
25,000 was that, Jack?
Yeah. We figured between you and the Sports Legacy Conservancy.
$25 I'm good with.
Hey, did you hear about Tom Brady?
About getting the job with Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah,
$375 million.
And they have no idea when to just start.
No.
Now,
pretty good work if you can get it. Yeah.
I want them giving me money before I've even done anything. That's the kind of job I want. Where do I sign up for that job?
Let me know when you find it.
What if he stinks? What if he's awful?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe trade him to another network, right?
They didn't put him in this. They didn't do a screen test with him. I think they're banking on Tom Brady being Tom Brady, and maybe he'll be very glib. But sometimes these guys are not very good.
Right. Well, the plan, as we found out, was that he was going to be a co-owner of the Dolphins with Stephen Ross when he retired for a week, and then he was going to arrange a trade for himself. And then he was going to quarterback the Dolphins. That would be great. You know, at least you got the owner on your side.
Yeah.
Anyway, we will talk with you again next week, and maybe by then, miracles, the Tigers will have won 2 in a row.
Well, we're gonna be in studio next week, Jack, and we'll have a little bit more of a discussion about where the help might come from.
All right, sounds great. Jim Stark. The plan here, Rob. We are hoping that Justin Abdelkader is going to be with us shortly. That is the plan, and hope that works out. In the meantime, we'll take a break. We'll be right back on The Drive with Jack.
At Culver's, we believe there's a right way to prepare a North Atlantic cod fillet sandwich, the traditional way. By traditional, we mean the way it's done all across the Midwest. We start with the finest, hand-cut cod fillets, batter each by hand, and cook crispy golden to order. No shortcuts, just hot and flaky, hand-battered goodness. So good.
It's a tradition, all right. Culver's North Atlantic cod fillet dinner or sandwich. Welcome to Delicious.
If your next event or holiday party has you feeling stressed and overwhelmed, don't be. Voted Lansing's best new restaurant by Top of the Town, One North Kitchen and Bar has catering for every occasion from an award-winning chef. Book your next event by calling 517-901-5001. One North is the perfect place to get with family and friends for all the big games. Also voted Lansing's best sports bar, they have over 40 TVs, feature scratch cooking, amazing craft cocktails, and the largest draft beer selection in West Lansing. That's One North Kitchen and Bar, where friends and family gather to make good times great.
Time for a career change? Looking to make a difference? Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our dedicated team of school bus professionals. Dean Transportation has immediate openings and offers paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license. With increased starting pay, benefit packages, flexible scheduling with weekday hours, and more, Dean Transportation may be the career choice for you. No experience needed. Apply now and train all summer. Head to deanjobs.com.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Consumer debt is on the rise as Americans try to keep up with soaring prices. Data released by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows household debt increased by $266 billion in the first quarter of this year. Credit card balances rose $71 billion from 1 year ago. Mortgage, car loans, and student loan balances also increased. Overall household debt is now $1.7 trillion, higher than in 2019 before the pandemic. The White House is defending President Biden's labeling of many Republicans as ultra MAGA.
What has struck him is how extreme some of the policies and proposals are, that a certain wing of the Republican Party that is taking up too much of the Republican Party are for.
Press Secretary Jen Psaki made an if the shoe fits argument while speaking to reporters. The Biden label covers conservative supporters of former President Trump in Congress. MAGA is shorthand for Trump's slogan, Make America Great Again. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Jack Ebling here with Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Matt, people buying cars different ways now with inventory changes.
They certainly are, Jack. It's a wild time, but we're still selling them. You might not see them on the lot, but they're still coming in every day, and we're still delivering them. So what we're finding is a lot of people, they come in, and they actually place an order for the vehicle instead of finding one on the lot that they want. Then that comes in within 7-8 weeks, and they take delivery.
We'll still want that great Graph service. They're making friends.
When it's your moment, that once-in-a-lifetime moment, you don't just want jewelry. You can get that anywhere. You want a memory that will go down in history, your moment. We're Medawar, crafted with exquisite style, quality, and love, so your present will be stunning every time you look at it, every time someone notices it, and they will notice. We've devoted our lives to this art, and we're proud to share it with you. The gift you want to give is here.
Medawar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, Portage, and Brighton.
There is definitely an art to handcrafting a rich, creamy Culver's concrete mixer. Start by scooping our so incredibly fresh vanilla or chocolate frozen custard. Then add whatever mix-ins you crave. Cookie dough, salted caramel, Butterfinger. Blend till you get the perfect balance of goodies from top to bottom. Indulge in a thing of beauty.
Come to Culver's and let us create a concrete mixer masterpiece just for you-know-who. Welcome to Delicious.
Welcome back. It is the Drive with Jack Spotlight Radio Network. Great choice of music there, Rob Bennett. I'm going to go right out to our guest line and welcome in Justin Abdelkader, former standout at Michigan State, Detroit Red Wings, and a lot of NHL experience. Jeez, this guy's a veteran now. I remember him back skating for the green and white and scoring championship-winning goals back in 2007. Justin, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Good. You talk about important goals. What is the number one goal for MSU hockey?
To bring another national championship, of course, right? It starts with getting back to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
You know, it's a proud program, and you know, unfortunately, we've struggled the last number of years, but right. Yeah, I think with Adam coming in, it brings a new life, new energy, and really exciting.
It's hard to win it if you're not in it. And yesterday at the introductory press conference, I think a lot of people were impressed by Adam Nightingale, and those who knew him and those who did not. What stands out about him to you and being able to lead this program back to prominence?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to be around Adam, first in Detroit for, I think it was 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And worked with me a lot there, but also worked with a lot of the other players, especially the younger players. And I know he mentioned before, but Jeff Blashill, put it on Adam to task Adam with working with guys like Dylan Larkin and Fabry and Bertuzzi, Hronik, some of the younger players, and helping those players along. I think he did a great job there. And then once he went to the U.S. program, actually got to skate with him as well before I went over to Switzerland the last few years, and got to be around his teams. And, for extended time, because I was coming off an injury last summer at the World Championships, and so I skated with them quite a bit before I went off to the Olympics, and got to see how he worked with the younger players and how well he connected with them, but also was in the locker room with those players and saw how, they viewed him as a coach and as a person. And I think he just really connects well with the new age player, and, can really get the most out of those players, whether it's your top player like Cooley at the program with the 18 team, or maybe it's a third or fourth line guy, and they all respond really well to his coaching. I think he like he mentioned in his press conference, family's important and the program's important, connecting the alumni. I think he brings so much to the table, and he's a player he's a coach that as a player you'll run through a wall for him or skate through a wall for him, and he has that grounded personality, and I think it's his humble past that has shaped him into who he is today.
Justin, I think you can look around hockey and a lot of other sports too and find different paths to the cheese. There are coaches who are more demanding. There are coaches who take a softer approach. You mentioned the word connect. What is it with today's player that they are looking for in a head coach?
I think someone that, has their back and someone that's, I don't think you're seeing as many coaches that, are, for example, you look as far as the NHL series is watching the Toronto Maple Leafs and Tampa Bay Lightning, and right. Jack Campbell gets pulled, and usually a coach will look the other way and be mad and doesn't want to see the goalie when he comes off the ice. But for example, Sheldon Keefe is talking to Jack Campbell and just saying, hey, I don't know what exactly was said, but it seemed like it was a pretty warm-hearted conversation, and right. I think more or less having those conversations with your players, and also you're demanding, but also you're approaching it a little differently, and a lot of times picking players up, and it's tough, in any sport when you don't have confidence. The game's 10 times harder, and then when you have confidence, it seems like everything's easy. And I think just finding that balance of being hard, but also getting the most out of each player and each individual. And I think Adam has really done a great job with the U.S. program, and he's coached all the best players there, and is really gets his players to buy in.
The adage, Justin, is that players have to know how much you care before they'll care how much you know. When you think about the relationships between players and coaches, it seems like that's changed somewhat over the years now, where it's not drill sergeant, it's not somebody who's just giving orders in a one-way communication.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's changed a lot, and I think it's just society in general, and how the new generation is, and how they need to be handled with certain things. But I think there's also a balance. You still can be hard and demanding, but also be able to, like I said, connect well with your players. And I think Adam, honestly, I think he checks all those boxes. And like I said, I've been around him, and just the icing on the cake. He's a Spartan, and I think he played before me, so I didn't play with him. Mm-hmm. Played with his brother Jared. So he connects with a lot of those players that he played with or been around. Then he was also started as a video coach at Michigan State. Right. I think in 2011 to 14, and knows a lot of those guys as well. And I think he's his focus is going to be to try to bring a lot of the alumni back and connect them and get everyone together, which I think will be great, and I think he'll do a really good job of that. And I think it's just it's exciting. I think you got the opportunity to go through the new MUN renovations, and it's going to be amazing. that's going to help too. But ultimately you got to win games, and it's not going to be easy. But I think he's ready for the challenge, and this is I would say his dream job and where he wants to be. So I think that's as exciting as anything as well. So I think it's a great fit. I think it's going to be a lot of exciting times ahead, and look forward. I think he's looking forward to the challenge, but looking forward to bringing back Michigan State hockey to where we all want it.
Yesterday, Justin, the two words that he harped on, I think they were the first points he made. One is culture, and you can define that in a lot of different ways, and sometimes it just becomes a buzzword, but he said that's the most important thing. And right behind it, close second, or 1A, is recruiting. How much does a facility like what Munn is going to be impact that choice, and what is it that tells you that Adam Nightingale is going to be an outstanding recruiter?
Yeah, I think he, with his experience, at the U.S. program, and like I said, I know personally how well he's connected with those players, but I think he'll do a great job in recruiting. He comes across very humble as a coach. Like I said, he comes from a humble past, and he's had to work for everything he's got in life, and I think he speaks from the heart. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he speaks from the heart, and that came out in his speech yesterday, and it comes out when he will be going in family rooms with parents and players, and I think he'll connect instantly with them and make them feel warm and ultimately make them want to play at Michigan State. So that's a big part of recruiting and recruiting players, is making those players feel like it's going to be a home. And I think he'll do that. And look forward. You got to, like he mentioned as well. You got to want to recruit the top players, and that's what he's gonna do and go after.
Well, you mentioned his most recent job with the national development team. Danton Cole also had that position, and I frankly thought when he came in that he would be a very effective recruiter with his NHL experience and knowing Michigan State as well as he did, having his name on the Stanley Cup. But apparently it takes a lot more than that. You need a staff, too. They can't let you down. They've got to be there for you because they're going to do a lot of the work on the road. What would you tell a prospect who was considering Michigan State? Because lately a lot of the top ones haven't been.
Yeah, and I think it's tough. And Danton and Adam are two different people, and I know people have tried to compare in the past because they both coached at USA, but it's hard to. I think you can't lump them together just because of that. But
right.
Danton it was a tough task at hand, and he put everything into it, and wish it could have been more successful, but that's how it is, and no fault to him. He worked extremely hard, and so it's next man up. And I think with Adam, I think it'll benefit having the experience at the NHL level and being with one of the top organizations too, because all players want to get to that NHL level, and he was around it recently, and he's been around the players in that new generation, that new type of player that how they need to be coached and how they need to be brought along. But it's going to be a tough task. It's not going to be easy, but he's more than up for the challenge, and he'll assemble a staff that I think will closely align with his values and how he wants his teams to play. And, that's a big part of it too, right? You got to build your staff. You got to have great assistants that can go out and recruit, because a lot of times the head coach, can't be everywhere. And so, I know he's looking forward to the challenge, but it's not going to be easy. And, but it's exciting times, like we talked about with the renovations and everything at Munn, and that can only help. So, we'll see what happens.
We're talking with Justin Abdelkader, tremendous Spartan and NHL veteran. Justin, when you think about the challenge ahead, and everybody remembers the glory days at Michigan State, maybe that makes it even tougher for people to accept anything less. But when you end the season with one win in 16 games, and you get maybe your best player going into the transfer portal, what's job one? Where does he start with this?
Yeah, I think he's, he ultimately has to, get players to believe that, he's going to turn the program around, and players want to see, want to be on a successful team, and a team that has a chance to win and get to the tournament on a yearly basis. So, I think he's got to sell that. He's got to sell, his past success with the national program, and I know he's going to, go at those players and try to recruit them. Obviously those are the best players in the country, and honestly, one or two recruiting classes can completely change the complexion of a team. And it's, in college hockey, if you can get these some of these top recruits and you kind of get the ball rolling, and it can really snowball fast, and people start jumping on the bandwagon, and you'll start getting the top players to come, and the advisors are, I know we mentioned that, but advisors are important, and having open discussions with them and talking to them and parents and players. But I think it all can happen fast, and look forward to seeing the work he'll do and the players he'll get to come in, and we'll see what happens, but it's not going to be easy.
What about former players, Justin? Some of them are still active in the playoffs, but you get guys who have names. How much can they help as ambassadors for the program?
No, for sure. Every little bit helps. I've talked to Adam. I've talked to Danton in the past, and Anastas, and obviously Conley. But anything I can do as a player to help, I'm there. And for example, you got the Muskegon Lumberjacks in my backyard, and might be possibly catching a game if they move on to the finals here. But I've skated with players, and between me or my dad or other alumni or other people that are connected to the program, we all want the best for Michigan State. And, so if it's jumping on a call with a recruit or meeting them on campus or whatever it is, we're all there to help. And I think that can make a difference, whether it's players that have played in the NHL or haven't, or have played pro or have experiences at Michigan State. I think that, can help recruits going in, and we can speak to, our experiences from a standpoint of, the Michigan State and the campus and everything it has to offer, and being a Big Ten university and what that means. But I think just getting kids familiar with the school and the university and getting them comfortable, I think is as big as anything, and making them feel like it's a home. And like it's, I think players that I've been around and players connected with the program feel like Michigan State's been a second home, and we want to give players in the future that feeling, because that's ultimately can be a big selling piece to them and their families.
Justin, I want to flash back in time here, and 15 years. It can't be 15 years, Rob. 15 years ago, and you score that championship winning goal. And it's hard to believe, but that was the last time a Big Ten team won the national championship. Michigan State can say that in basketball and hockey. And I never would have guessed at that point, considering Minnesota had won a couple and Wisconsin. And, Michigan's always around the pile. And you would think that Big Ten would have broken through. Any idea why that hasn't happened?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I would have thought for sure, another Big Ten school would have won at one of the sports, hockey for sure, or somewhere else. But it just speaks to the competition, around the country, and I think you're seeing more and more programs that are competing, even smaller schools that are competing at the collegiate level.
Right.
And I think that's great to see. I mean, you want parity, and we want parity in the NHL and all of our leagues, and I think that's what we have. I think the talent pool has grown, which is great. You're seeing more and more players that are really good and can compete, whether they're at a smaller school and are playing maybe a Big Ten school. I think sometimes it can be tough for the bigger schools or the perennial powerhouses that maybe some of these kids are leaving early and they're playing against schools that maybe they have fourth or fifth year seniors that it can be tough and they can make a difference. So I think that can play into it as well a little bit, but I just think the talent pool is growing, and especially can speak to the hockey programs. But you're not seeing maybe 6 or 7 schools that have a chance to win a national championship. I think it's even more going into a season, and obviously you need some luck and some breaks and some different things. But I would just say the talent pool and the gap is closed a little bit from maybe like your powerhouse schools to some of your smaller schools.
We said 15 years since the Big Ten has a NCAA hockey champion. It's been 22 years since they've had a men's basketball champion, dating back to Tom Izzo's team in 2000. But I want to flash back 13 years and 2 days ago, May 8th, 2009. Do you remember anything about that day?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What can you tell us about your NHL debut?
Well, it was, I mean, honestly, amazing, being a part of, such a great organization and coming into an organization that, had so many future Hall of Famers. It was, coming from my experiences and time at Michigan State and being fortunate to win and be on really good teams, and then to jump on a team with Detroit where we had won the Cup in 2008, but also the teams they fielded prior to that, and then also in 2002 probably assembled the best NHL team, one of the best NHL teams ever. And it was just for me to be around those type of players and the Lidströms and the Zetterbergs and the Drapers and the Maltbys, and to learn how to do it at a professional level and what it takes. And it's it's different than the collegiate level. You play 40 games at most, and you get to the NHL level and it's 82 plus, could be 20 some games in playoffs, and just things you have to do, how you train, how you recover, because you're playing every other day. Where in college you're playing two games a weekend. It's just being around those guys and learning really helped jumpstart my NHL career, and honestly, it was a big part of, I think, me playing as long as I did.
You mentioned Nick Lidström, and he had a great nickname, the Perfect Human. What's the biggest mistake you ever saw him make, or the dumbest thing you ever heard him say?
Oh gosh, I mean, he was very soft spoken, so I was, and honestly, from a hockey standpoint, I can't really say he made any mistakes. Like, he was just he's just so smooth and so so cerebral with the puck, and he just always was so aware of where other guys were. And I was always nervous towards the end, like some of the guys, when you'd be going back for pucks, I didn't want him to get hit, but he would just kind of he would be elusive as well. He just kind of like slide out of checks or let guys go in first and then stick lift them and get the puck. And he just, and the amazing part is you couldn't tell if he played 5 minutes or 35 minutes. He was just, he was like a machine out there, and he seemed like he never got tired. It's crazy.
Want to go back to May of 2009 again, and you waited 22 days until May 30th to get your first NHL goal. And I don't know if you were just holding back and saving it for the Stanley Cup Finals, but Game 1 against Pittsburgh, you couldn't have picked a better time for your first goal.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty amazing to do it on that stage and in the finals. And it's still thinking back on that, it was unbelievable. Obviously, it was a dream come true as a kid, and you dream of doing that in the Stanley Cup Finals, and to do it at home, and have so much family and friends in attendance was pretty cool. It was a game that I didn't play that year every playoff game, but I think I played 10 and played 3 in the finals and scored in back-to-back games. Honestly, I think I was, I played, Chris Draper was coming off an injury, and so I was playing in his spot, and, I think he was probably ready. Well, the games 1 and 2 is kind of unique where it was a back-to-back situation. So, they weren't going to play him on back-to-back, so I think I was going to play Game 1. He was going to play Game 2, and then I scored in Game 1, so, and we won, so, Babcock wasn't going to change the lineup or take me out, and then I scored again in Game 2, and I think he was planning on Drapes playing Game 3, but he wasn't going to change the lineup, so I stayed and played Game 3 in Pittsburgh, and then didn't score, and then Drapes came back and played, the rest of the series. But it was, it was amazing. It was, obviously a really tough lineup to crack, at that time with all the players we had, but, just so cool to do that, to play, to have that opportunity and to score on that stage. It was, definitely one of the highlights. And, but like I said, I think a lot of those experiences helped me to, have a successful NHL career.
As tough as Chris Draper was, Justin, someone said that you put him on the bench longer than Claude Lemieux did.
I put him on the bench?
Yeah, I mean, they weren't going to take you out of the lineup. So I guess, from that standpoint, just keep scoring.
Yeah. It was just one of those things where, I guess I had somewhat of a hot stick, and I, he was a great veteran. He was always great along the way for me and helped me tremendously, along the way. And he was, so supportive, in all aspects. And, I guess I kept him out a few games, but he was happy we won the games, and he, if anything, he wanted us to win. It didn't matter if he obviously wanted to be in, but it is what it is. I guess that's how it works.
2015, the season opener, you had a hat trick, just the second Red Wing in history to score 3 goals in the season opener. And off to a hot start there. And then you signed the contract, the big contract, and expectations with that along the way. Finally leaving the Red Wings in 2020 to be a free agent for the first time. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it was, it was unfortunate. I would have loved to finish my career in Detroit, but it's a business, and that's how things work. And I was thankful for my time there, but it was different. It was. I think it was more challenging too, coming off the COVID year, because it was almost a year between the last game in March and then when they started up in January. And so it was interesting being a free agent, but I relished the opportunity to. I still wanted to play. Still felt. Still felt good about, where I was and my training and how I felt on the ice. So, got through training camp, and a lot of it was, a lot of teams wanted to see where their young players were, and a lot of teams have been off, especially the non-playoff teams have been off for almost a year. So, I had an opportunity to go over to Switzerland and play, and I talked to, for example, a player like Jim Slater, who played over there towards the end of his career. Daniel Vukovic, who I played with at Michigan State, he was over there. He had a Swiss license and had played over there for 10 years. And actually Andrew Rowe, another Michigan State player, was over there. And so I got to talk to a lot of those guys about the league and what they liked and whatnot. And they all couldn't speak more highly of the league and the country and all that. So I decided to go over there and was fortunate to be on, the best team that we ended up setting the record for most points in the season, and then end up going on a playoff run and win the championship. So it was a lot of fun. Looking back on that year and going over there, it wasn't an easy decision with the family, but my wife was all about it and fully supported me going over there, and then her eventually joining. And it was fun to experience winning again, because it was, it had been a tough, number of years in Detroit, not making the playoffs and going through the rebuild and all that. So it was fun to win again. And I think, for me as a player, as a person, whatever, end up doing when I'm done playing, it's just a great experience I think I can draw on. And whether it's talking to other players or coaches or whoever, I have a lot of experiences to draw on, not only at the NHL stage, but in the European stage, playing over there, and then playing the number of times I did with USA Hockey. So like I said, I would have loved to finish in Detroit. Didn't work out that way, and I've had a great last few years playing over in Switzerland.
Justin Abdelkader, our guest, of course, a standout at Michigan State, getting the championship-winning goal in 2007, and then a long stint with the Red Wings, 11 years. Two more quick things for you, Justin. Have you given much thought to life after hockey? I mean, eventually, the puck is not going to be on your stick anymore.
Yeah, a little bit. Now with two young kids, definitely want to see them grow up and be a part of their lives. And, my oldest is really into hockey already. I mean, he's almost 4, but he's have had him on the ice, and look forward to, being a part of their life, spending time with them. Obviously with the hockey schedule, it can get, it can get busy, and you're on the road a lot. And then with the training and especially, as you get older, the training gets, more and more, so it takes up a lot of time, but it's a big commitment. But, I think, when I'm done, I mean, we'll see what opportunities present itself, whether it's, in hockey or, I'd be open to doing something possibly on TV or broadcasting or,
right. You'd be very good at that.
Helping out, that way. I would be open to that as well, but I don't know, see where things fall. And kind of go from there. But, hockey's given me so much in life. I want to give back and enjoy working with, I haven't done my hockey camp the last few years, but look forward to getting that going now that we're, I think, finally through COVID, and getting that going again, and, helping out young kids and helping out Adam at Michigan State or wherever it is along the way. Just be there to support and let's use my experiences to hopefully help others.
Last question for you: which two teams are we going to see in the Stanley Cup final?
It's a great question. Obviously the easy choice out west would be Colorado, the way they're playing.
John Michael Lyles liked that idea yesterday. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think I like Calgary. I like the makeup of their team. I think they're going to go to the West. I think this has been a good test for them with Dallas, but I think they'll get through that series. And then out east, it's tough. I like either Tampa or Toronto. If Toronto could get by Tampa, I really like their team, but I don't know. I could see Tampa getting back to the finals the way they're playing. Vasilevsky is probably one of the best goalies, if not the best in the NHL. So if he continues to play the way he's playing, I could see a Calgary-Tampa final. And, I don't know. I think maybe it'd be Calgary's year. I think they got the firepower, and I think they got the depth, and they have a good goalie too in Markstrom. So it'll be a good series. I mean, I could see any of those teams coming out though. There's just so much parity in the NHL. Like I never would have thought Pittsburgh would be up on New York like they are.
Right.
And with the regular season they had and the way their goalie was playing, but that's why they play the game, and a lot can happen. So just look forward to watching that and seeing what happens.
Justin, great to talk with you again, and good luck to you.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
I hope
Jack.
that we get to see you either when there's a rededication of the facility at Munn, or hey, when Michigan State is back in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, thanks. Well, always a pleasure talking to you as well. Appreciate it.
Justin Abdelkader. Rob, this was a fun show. I think we went a couple minutes over, but that's okay. I want to thank all of our guests. Deshaun Tate, a special effort flying in here from Atlanta, and he's got some family business, but he made the extra effort to get here to the studio. I always appreciate that. Our basketball savant, Tom Lang, Mr. Michigan Golf Journal, with our long drive segment, brought to you by the Links at Hunter's Ridge. Appreciate Gary Kendra from the Links being with us, and Dave Douglas from Golf UP. Jim Stark, Michigan Sports Legacy Conservancy. See, the Tigers are already down 2-0, so maybe that was a dream of a doubleheader sweep. And Justin Abdelkader, not only reminiscing about his career, but also giving us a lot of insight into Adam Nightingale. We'll be back tomorrow, everyone, and Stephen Brooks will be with us. A lot of Michigan State and Big Ten talk. Have a great night.
you.